Matchday one, baby. We're in for it now. Who's going to get off on the right foot this season? How are the big transfers going to integrate with their clubs? And will Liverpool be able to manage without Jurgen Klopp? Actually, that last one probably not going to get to this week because Liverpool's got Ipswich Town. Still, there are going to be some entertaining matches this week with Chelsea hosting Manchester City and West Ham hosting Aston Villa. You'll catch it all today on Coffee with a Kick. Hello, welcome back to Coffee with a Kick. First preview episode, first prediction episode of the season. Obviously, because it's match day 1. I mean, who are we kidding here? Of course, it's going to be the first one of this season. We're starting over as far as picks are concerned. If you were following us last year, we revamped late last year how we're doing our picks. We use decimal betting odds, meaning that for each decimal, it's how much you would earn if you bet $1. So, for example, first a match coming up is, that's not the right letters, Manchester United versus Fulham. It said Hull here. I'm like, Hull is not in here. Fulham, which has, I'm not going to go over these for everyone, but just for a little flavor, Manchester is predicted to be the favorite at 1.59 results. So that's $1.59 for every dollar you bet. A draw is 4.41, and a Fulham victory will get you net you 5.55 points here for this one. And if we get a perfect pick, so if we get the actual score line correct, then we double the results. It would technically be worth more, but it's hit or miss. You know, you have to put down your money for an exact result to get an exact result. So we just double it and leave it at that. Is how that works. Quick breakdown on how that works. But anyway, why don't you take it off here, Keegan? How do you feel about Manchester United versus Fulham to kick off the Premier League tomorrow on Friday?
Yeah, I feel like both teams are going to want to start out strong. Both teams coming back after a season of the Premier League. You know, we talked about transfers a little bit in our previous episode. Mm-hmm. Man, you haven't done a lot. They've gotten a couple of guys in, but I think that their team is still strong enough that I'm going to go a 2-1 Man U victory. I think I have to go a Fernandes goal. I think Højlund will start out strong, so I'm going to go Fernandes and Højlund being the goal scorers.
I've got a pretty similar scoreline. I don't have as much faith in Fulham, so I have them going down 3-1 as that result there for Manchester United. I mean, they're also at home, which is, you know, it's always nice to start off the season at home. Like it's the side you probably should be beating if you have any hopes of being in a European position come the end of the season. The next one up, Ipswich Town. Check out Ipswich Town's first couple matches here. It is tough sledding. They've got they've got Liverpool up first. I think you said they had City and then Chelsea. Is that right? Hold on.
Looks like they have Liverpool, City,
and then
Liverpool
and City is their starting
break.
off. Yeah, a bit of a break after that, but still starting off with Liverpool and then at the Etihad is not the most not the easiest way to start off your Premier League endeavor. So I do think that they get taken down by Liverpool with a 4-1. I still give them a goal because I don't. As you see in the prediction episode, we don't think that Ipswich Town is going to be terrible. But Liverpool is still pretty good, and they'll be a more cohesive unit starting off the season. So I've got it as 4-1 for Ipswich Town. Now, you could see something crazy happen because, you know, this is the first match without Jurgen Klopp. But I'm going to go with the favorite in this one, which is Liverpool, as a 4-1 victory.
Yeah, this is one of those matches where the better team has probably the biggest instability as to what's going to happen because new manager, Klopp was there for a long time.
Yeah.
And all the players are the players that Klopp bought. Liverpool have made no transfers. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up, what a formation looks like, how they want to play tactically. But I think I'm going to go with stability being king here. I'm going to go a 2-2 draw.
Wow.
Ipswich being at home, they kept their manager. Liverpool, we don't know what this Liverpool looks like, so I'm going to go 2-2 draw.
I mean, that'll net you some points there. That's a 5.86 there for a draw, which is good. That's a good result for a draw. Boy, did I pick favorites in every single one? No, I know I didn't, because I picked some draws later on. Just making sure, checking myself here. Here's one that you gotta pick the favorite, okay? Arsenal versus my Wolves. I didn't see any action since we sold Pedro Neto. I haven't seen that we've bought anybody since then, so still not looking great for this one. How bad do my Wolves start off here at Arsenal's place?
Yeah, I have it 3-1 Arsenal winning. Yeah. I think it's at Arsenal. Wolves have lost a couple of pretty key fixtures in their starting lineup and not a lot of time to replace them.
Nope.
So it's hard to think Wolves. I think Wolves are good defensively. They can regroup. They can beat some of these teams, but not this weekend.
We were certainly better before we sold Max Kilman. I'll tell you that much. I've got it as a 3-0. I think we get blanked. I appreciate you giving us a nice goal. You know, you could see Cunha getting a cheater goal. You know, where we've just got a quick counterattack after Arsenal's been pressing us for 15 straight minutes or something. But I don't think it happens. I think Arsenal takes this one handily. Then for Everton and Brighton Hove Albion, I think this is the first true toss-up. This is, I mean, looking at I'm looking at the odds here. I know this is the first true toss-up that we have of the weekend. Everton and Brighton, teams that are looking to break out of the middle of the pack. Well, Everton looking to break into and then through the middle of the pack. You know, they would have been in the middle had they not had so many deductions for financial fair play last season. But Everton and Brighton, it'll be interesting. We'll have a fully healthy Brighton side, which is good. I mean, they had lingering injuries throughout last season. Everton, we'll see if they can continue to hold on. But I think the away team takes it. I think Brighton takes it 2-1. They're not at the Amex. We'll see if they can continue their results. I probably should have gone 3-1 because that's how a lot of the early season results went for Brighton last season. But I'm going to go 2-1 here.
Yeah, new manager for Brighton. De Zerbi's gone. Everton, again, has the stability. I don't think they have the attacking to get the win here. I'm going to go 1-1. That feels pretty good for an opening day Everton game.
That's, yeah, because they do still have a fair defense on there. Then we go to Newcastle and another recently promoted side, Southampton. Newcastle and Southampton. Newcastle, I think this one's pretty straightforward. I've got Newcastle taking this 3-0. They're good at home. They improved their defense, if memory serves. Hold on, let me grab my notes here. They improved their defense, right? What happened? What'd they do? Yeah, Lenny Yoro, right? Is that his name? Lenny Yoro.
I think Man United got Lenny Yoro.
Oh, wrong line. That's the wrong line. Lewis Hall, that's who it was.
Yeah,
Lewis Hall was their guy that they bought. And I think that Southampton does go down in flaming defeat 3-0.
You know, I had 3-0. I think I'm going to change it to 4-0.
Wow.
Just to be a little different.
You believe.
But again, Newcastle, kind of the same way. Some early transfer business. They got Vlachodimos, who we talked about a little bit in our transfer episode. And it's just, you never know. Because Lewis Hall's young, but they think he's going to play quite a bit. So, and Newcastle potentially maybe selling Bruno Guimaraes, potentially to Man City. So there's still a lot of up in the airs, but for now, I think their team's going to stay mostly intact. And I have Southampton going down all the way down to 20th. So I'm going to go, they don't start off great.
Yeah, I mean, that will certainly help keep that result holding till the end. Then you can start off here with Nottingham and Bournemouth.
Well, it doesn't change my pick, but Bournemouth did just transfer in Julian Araujo from Barcelona. He's been playing on LA Galaxy for a while, but that's a pretty big transfer for a team like AFC Bournemouth. I doubt he'll play this weekend, but I still think they win 2-0. I don't have much faith in Nottingham Forest. They've bought a lot of players. They've sold a lot of players. They've been in financial fair play error last season. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's working out for them in the Premier League, and they got lucky last year. So I'm going to go Bournemouth starting out 2-0 victory at the Forest ground.
Well, that does hold with what you predicted at the in our last episode for Nottingham being another one of your relegated sides. I've got this one going 2-2. I think Bournemouth is going to have to figure some stuff out, but Nottingham kind of has a bit of a leaky back line from last season. So I think Bournemouth can still sneak it past them there. But with what they have to figure out and missing in how they're going to operate their offense, I think that they will have some sloppy possession in the middle that'll give Nottingham some chances. And I think it goes 2-2. They are at Nottingham Forest. They are at the City. Is that right? The City Ground? Is that right? Yeah, the City Ground in Nottingham. And they start off all right. I've got Nottingham finishing respectively in 14th. So I got to keep them. I can't have them lose too much too early. Then we go to a match that is pretty promising. We've got West Ham United versus Aston Villa. This one is probably just kind of a better version of Everton and Brighton. I've got this also going 2-2. I have this being an exciting 2-2 match there to start off the season with the Hammers and Aston Villa, whatever they call their side. I'm not off the top of my head.
The Villains.
They're not called the Villains.
I think they are. I think I've heard that before.
You think they're called the Villains? Okay. The Villains.
It makes sense. But I think both of these teams, if they set up like they did last year, have a really good chance to kind of play how neither team wants to play. Aston Villa wants possession, but they don't want all the possession. They're kind of like the Tottenham-esque. They play best when they get counterattacks. West Ham, same way. They would rather just sit back, but I think Aston Villa is probably going to give them more possession than they'd like. Mm-hmm. Different manager for West Ham, so we'll see. But I think they have a really good chance for this one to break open because both teams are going to be playing kind of different style of ball than they were playing last year. It's week 1. These teams are historically defensive. I'm going to go 3-2 West Ham victory. I think West Ham is going to give Aston Villa a wake-up call early. I had Aston Villa still finishing pretty high, and I think they still will, but I think they'll get a wake-up call early. In transfer news for West Ham, they recently did purchase Aaron Wan-Bissaka as of yesterday from Man U, which is definitely a statement of intent because I think either this is the last year of their right back Kofal's contract or they just let him go. But Wan-Bissaka, it'll be interesting to see if he plays, but he'll definitely be a good addition to West Ham.
Absolutely. That carries us through to, at this point, I think is to Sunday, right? Yeah, the first match of Sunday. Those other ones, aside from Man U, were all on Saturday. Brentford and Crystal Palace. You can take first crack at this one. I've got my pick here, but you go ahead.
Yeah, G-Tech Community Stadium, this will be the match 1 of their swan song in the Premier League, at least I believe. It's hard to see Brentford. They haven't done a lot of transfer business. They haven't made any big notable signings, at least from our end, that look like they'll impact the team. So I think Crystal Palace, as long as they have Eze and Mateta, it's going to be hard to go against them. And even though they lost Elise, like we already mentioned, he was kind of hurt a lot last season.
Yeah.
Vital when he was in the squad, but he wasn't as crucial as the other two. So I think Crystal Palace picks up right where they left off. They kept their manager. I think they win 2-1.
I've got a surprising starter here. Well, not according to the odds. This is actually the favorite. Brentford takes it 2-0. I think that Thiago actually comes through here in the first one. Hopefully he gets playing time and I don't look like a total fool. Igor Thiago. We'll see. He's a 23-year-old center forward. He could play. He can play. He's of age. But yeah, I think Brentford takes it. It's a lot of these. We'll have to see how these teams come out. It's hard to predict in your first week of the season, but we'll take a swing at it. And then to Chelsea and Manchester City, a very intriguing first match from my point of view, considering I picked these teams to go 1-2 invertedly. Man City going 1, Chelsea going 2. I think that this is a rip-roaring 2-2 draw. I'm picking a lot of 2-2s this first week, but I think 2-2 draw at Stamford Bridge. Stamford Bridge. Don't want to swallow that T there. Stamford Bridge. We're not at that small university in Georgia?
In Alabama.
Alabama. Sorry, Samford's in Alabama, obviously. 2-2, I have it for Chelsea. I think that both Phil Foden and Cole Palmer get a goal in this one.
I do agree that Chelsea's going to score 2, but I think City's going to get 4.
Wow.
The new Chelsea manager was, I think, on City staff 3 years ago, 3 years ago. So another one of Pep's prodigies. So Pep kind of knows what he's thinking. I'm sure that the other guy feels like he knows what Pep is thinking. But in recent past, until Arteta beat him last season, no one had beaten. It was kind of like Nick Saban in college football. If anyone watching this even watches the NCAA college football, no one had beat. It was like at one point he was 22-0 against former assistants.
Yeah.
Pep, very similar, especially the first time they play it. So I'm going to lean on that record and give City the 4-2 victory.
I mean, there's a good chance. I mean, the City is very good still. They're still very good. And then rounding out the weekend, we break over into Monday with poor Leicester. They have to face off against Tottenham. Do you think? Do they get anything out of this? What do you think?
I think Tottenham is going to get a wake-up call here.
Oh.
But I think it ends in a 3-3 draw, and Tottenham has to get the last goal to tie it. I just think Leicester's going to come out. They've always been that attacking team. Mm-hmm. They still have, like we mentioned, some guys with Premier League experience. They picked up a couple of guys. Tottenham, again, not a ton of business. They brought back Timo Werner, but really it's kind of the same squad. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up. But I think last game of the first match week, it's got to have some fireworks. So I'm going 3-3.
You don't think Solanke is going to make that big of a difference for him?
He might, but I mean, who knows? He might not even start to begin with. You just never know how they'll set up.
True. He might. That's part of why the reason I put him as their player to watch is to see if he integrates well with the side. You know, pieces always look good in abstract, but sometimes they just don't fit together. Look like when Cristiano Ronaldo returned to Manchester United, didn't fit in. Christian Pulisic with Chelsea, it just never worked out. Part of that is just lack of effort on the manager's side, but that's beside the point. He's doing very well in Italy at this point. I have Tottenham taking it 4-0 over Leicester City. I think I had Leicester going back down, so I just why not? I think Son gets a brace and an assist. Wow, really good first match from Son. Look at that, impressive stuff. But that brings us to the end of match week 1. Wow, already back in action. We'll see how we do against the favorites. We do keep track of how the favorites do. I can't. The last year you beat the favorites last year. I don't know if I did. I think I basically tied them for the Premier League. No, I lost. I lost by a good.
I think I beat the favorites by a good bit.
You beat the favorites by about as much as I lost to in the Premier League. Champions League, I dominated in the Champions League. I beat both of you very badly in the Champions League. Yeah. Actually,
I will say here at the end for a little bit more transfer updates.
Oh.
Since our Premier League preview episode, which I think we had up to August 11th, since then, the Julian Alvarez transfer has been confirmed, rumored to be £83 million, which is chump change. Tottenham sent Emerson Royale over to AC Milan. He was one of their starters. That's shocking. The one that shocks me is Fabio Carvalho, who was one of Jurgen Klopp's best and brightest, was transferred to Brentford. So that actually is good business for Brentford. I think that's very smart. And then Man U does a double swoop from Bayern Munich. They get Matheus de Ligt, center back, and then Nasser Mazraoui, both I think for a total of 65 million. But getting de Ligt is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
He was on that Ajax team in I think 2018 that made it to the Champions League semifinal. He's been Bayern's starting center back. So Man U getting some business done. I'm liking these moves that some teams are making. Not so much Liverpool getting rid of Carvalho, but it's looking like teams are starting to pick it up a little bit here near the end of the transfer window.
We'll have to repick table positions at some point, probably at Christmas break or something. We'll do how we think the final table will shake out because, that's your fourth is definitely seeming more right for Man U after hearing those than my sixth. A lot of teams got better this offseason, so that makes for an interesting season to be sure, and we'll be here for all of it. Okay, I'm saying that very angrily, but that is our commitment, is that we will be here for all of it. All right, so until sometime next week, I think it'll be probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I don't know. Why don't you go ahead and grab your coffee, watch some soccer, and we'll see you on the other side.